Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. Another craptastic day, but it's in the 40s, or 40, I believe, maybe. Trying to get window seals in, door window seals. That's going along pretty straightforward. I won't explain how this transition works here because we can all custom overlap those rubber components right there as we see fit. The topic is going to be about the last time I changed that particular seal out in this car when we first got it. Was the door window seals in these cars as compared to the track location, inboard or outboard, because it's adjustable. This entire window track assembly can be massaged that way or this way. And I worked many afternoons several years ago trying to get that right. And during this renovation, because we're not doing a restoration, we're doing a renovation of the car, I had the time to pay attention to a lot of different things about how was the door functional from the factory, brand new. And one of the things we had to assume was that the door hinges were in perfect shape. Everything was passing quality checks. But my challenge here was to meet a couple of requirements. I need the window to seal up if there's someone in the car and they roll down the window and then they roll it back up. Does the glass seal? And with the window rolled all the way up, can you successfully open the door and reclose the door and the window seals along that area? There's, I think, at least a half a dozen points in the car to half a dozen points in the door assembly and all of its pieces, parts to adjust to accommodate that. And it is a puzzle. I'm not a VW expert, but one of the things that a person can do is realize that the plate that's trapped, let's call it a captive nut, but it's a 4-hole threaded plate that is captured so that you can put your bolts through your door hinges, and the door can be adjusted inboard or outboard. And down here, the door can be a little bit of an adjustment down here, a little bit. What I found very interesting was that this hole right here for your door hinge is a blind hole. These allow you to put a bolt in, a replacement bolt that's too long, which would differ from the factory bolt. Let's see if I got any laying around. I probably do, I just don't recall where they're at. They should be in a Ziploc baggie here somewhere. Nah. Anyway, if you put in replacement bolts, they can be had at your hardware store pretty darn close to original. But this one bolt on each side of the car has to be a certain length, and I think it can only be like a 1/4 inch because it dead ends. What I have installed right now is these, and I don't have anything I could put up against it for scale. I have plenty of tools here. This is a stubby Phillips screwdriver, but that's I believe that's me part number there. And it's telling us it is think, oh, okay. By, hopefully that 25 means quarter. I'm looking for the size. It doesn't matter. Anyway, these are about a third longer than the originals. But this bolt can't go into that hole because that hole there stops right about there. These just pass all the way through the other ones. So anyway, you can adjust the door inboard and outboard. And then these are not the original mounting screws for the rubber track. Notice I have my adjustment all the way outboard. I can slide this inboard. Where this mounts, I guess, has to be custom fit to your situation or your window, because on your window, I need to find the door handle. One of them, it's just using for a demo. So this is called the window regulator assembly. Right up in here, it's a regulator. It's just a moon gear, a slider track. The window goes up and down on. Turn this. You can see it follows that track over there. And it comes down. And it goes up. So there's a simple adjustment on the door window. You've got this bolt here that you loosen up, this nut. You loosen that nut and then you turn this stud and change hands. You loosen the nut and you use a screwdriver and you turn this stud, and this whole bar through here will be adjusted inboard or outboard, which means that will cause your window to go this way or that way to accommodate the rubber gasket up through here. And you've got to fit right in that L shape on that rubber. So as the trajectory of the door comes in, you want to eyeball the glass, pretend like it's a line that's parallel with the rubber, because the rubber has a shape like so. So that becomes important over here on the glass again, because there's another adjustment on the glass. So you can rock your glass inboard or outboard by this adjustment. And I forgot to mention, this adjustment also lets you pendulum that bar this way or that way, because the hole is oval. You can barely make out some of the hole back there. So this whole thing can go this way or that way. So let me back up for a minute, hold the door open. You can adjust the window this way or that way. And then you can also adjust the window height this way or that way. So you have a x-axis and a y-axis. Yeah. And how you accommodate the z-axis, I suppose, by how it fits against this seal, is achieved by those adjustments. How you position this metal track that holds the rubber seal. So after you do everything, you start to notice something else. you notice that your doors might have up and down play in them, or as your door is approaching the closing trajectory, you'll notice your body lines. Now, I have finished tweaking this to the point where I like it because there's another adjustment. The door latch mechanism. These two screws allow you to, it's not exactly up and down adjustment on this catch. It's almost like a diagonal. It's a inboard, outboard. It's like a diagonal adjustment. If I loosen these two screws and I move this and I try to go straight back, I can't. I have to go down as that whole assembly travels back. Now that aids in pulling your glass closer to the rubber seal as well. So I want to finish rolling up my window here. I want to show you something. Well, dang it, I got one more thing. Okay, so there's also an adjustment on how high up the window rolls. Notice this simple technology right here. This is a bolt, finger, okay. This is a bolt that's in a threaded sleeve. As I rotate the window up, the metal holder comes in and bumps the head of that bolt, and that gives you a stop point for how far you're allowed to roll your window up. So right now I'm there where I'm at. Additionally, take a look at the glass mounting. The glass is setting in this metal cradle with these bolts, and all of that glass can slide that way or this way depending on how you have that made up. I guess a few years ago I had spray painted these because I had to take the window out for some reason, and I wanted to make sure that when I reinstalled, I put everything back by putting a dot of spray paint, putting all the hardware back right where it was to have like a witness point. You know, I can put things back the way they were. But I never did get that seal installed right because I didn't have time to look at all the details. But I'm looking at all of them right now, and you'll pay attention to the trajectory of this latch here and what it does to the catch. Hello. So, hope everybody can see that. I barely bump the top side. I'm bumping right here against that metal catch, that bar right there. That's the first point of when you close the door gets lifted up to the point where it achieves what you're wanting on your body lines. And then you close. And what you're hoping for is that your body lines look like this. Now, additionally, there is a rubber striker, a replacement that we did, that is supposed to aid in your alignment and lifting the door up. This striker is held on by this rubber guide that hits this over here. This thing is adjustable up and down, front and back, and it's got a lot of range. I'd almost say it's 3/4 of an inch. But here's what we've got on our door, because before I would have this body line was down to about right here. I couldn't figure out what was going on, but of course it played into making all that match up. So what I did was I set myself up with that, this, and I got myself a wooden block here somewhere, which is right here. And I had that set up right there. Yeah, pretty much just like so. And I jacked up on the door. And jacking up on that door caused me to bend inboard the hinges, but pull outboard those hinges to get me where I'm at today, which is damn near matching body lines. A little bit off, but the last challenge here is to put my jack back and my wooden block and this big honking piece of steel. My last challenge here is to get that metal track in the right location. And what I'm discovering is I believe I need to get rid of these screws completely because the heads are just too large. They're bumping in to the crevasse. They're bumping into this side of the channel, reducing my ability to push outboard. But that's what I'm doing today. And put my handle back in there for turning the window up, bring it all the way up. I want to show you all something else. When you start adjusting everything, you're going to pay attention to the edge of your glass and how it approaches this rubber right here. But it looks like I'm going to bump into the rubber, but if you have the latch mechanism timed right, as you close the door is by default going to get lifted up a little bit, but watch what happens when I lift up manually. Things go together really well. So you're kind of, see, it's, if I don't lift up and I just push in, you'll see it forcing the rubber and then it flicks. And when you pull off, it flicks the rubber. So what I think I need to do is do a little bit of an adjustment so that when the door is closing, my door is lifted up a little bit more. I need to find out where I can do that so that the glass is not crashing into that rubber. But another point I want to make is, let's all take a look at this. There's no gap, and then you see a glass gap. And then it gets wider and wider and wider. That becomes a royal pain in the ass back here in the corner, because not only is it difficult to get the glass arranged and tilted inboard, outboard, and rotated, get it adjusted to be fully impacting that rubber seal that goes in there, but by nature, the glass is rounded right back here. And when I had the rubber installed, before this video, this rubber was in, I could see into the car. I could probably see, I mean, if you went through, I hate to say this, but I thought we could take Volkswagens through a car wash, but I think everyone in the VW world knows that's not true. I didn't know. I just wondered, why do I have all these little gaps in my seals, and why is water getting in the car? Well, right back here is a major league problem I'm trying to deal with. Alrighty, well, there's that, 20 minutes. Previous video, we installed this back window seal, and yeah, it's still garbage. It's wrinkled. Looks like an amateur. Terrible. That product, the part number from, I wish J-Bugs would come out with one that's pre-molded. I don't know if they have one or not, but this is the one that comes in their seal kit. And this rear window seal will not make this radius without kinking. And there's the other side. I'll try to figure out a way to correct that with new pieces parts. Right now my mission is to find out if I can learn something about the glass. The glass is trying to talk to me right now and tell me where this metal track needs to be located, whether I adjust it outboard or inboard. And with the glass rolled all the way up, you can start to make a determination that it's telling you what it wants based on where the glass itself is tilted inboard. So I think that's anyone's DIYers out there, that's your first task, is to get your window to agree with this seal first. And the reason why I say that is because, watch it, if you get that window parallel lines as you come in here, and you see it's parallel with your chrome edge, you watch the edge of the glass and the edge of the chrome, you get those two lines parallel, and you notice that when you close the door and go inside and you notice this glass is touching the rubber, you know that your forward and back adjustment's right and your inboard or outboard tilt is correct, and your hinges are right, and your door latch is right, and your striker is correct. You need to stop jacking with the position of the window and start focusing on how do you manipulate this metal track up here by adjusting it in or out to accommodate your new seal. Then you can do what I had trouble doing a few years ago, which was meeting those requirements. Can a passenger be in the seat, roll the window down, and roll it up? Open the door with the window rolled up, and close the door and have the window seal without catching on this bugger right here. You have to meet all of that. If you meet all that, you have everything right. So it's a lot of elbow grease. Sorry for the long video, but I'm marching on, and thank you. Stay tuned.